have no idea what just happened. Like, that was weird. So apparently my internet wanted to go crazy on me again for some god unknown reason. But let me know in the comment section how we're doing, and we'll pick up where we left off with talking about Marcus Davenport. We're going to do a quick intro. Here, and you guys let me know if you see this or not in the chat. Hey, yo, I'm definitely sorry about that. That doesn't happen very often. I'm really going to have to check that internet box at some point, because it's done it once a day when I've gotten online. So with that being said, let's get back on topic real quick. We're going to talk about the standout player of the day, Marcus Davenport. Marcus Davenport ended up catching 4 sacks in total on James Hurst, who filled in for the veterans of the following players: of Teron Armstead, of Andrus Peat, Alvin Kamara, and Marshawn Lattimore. It was very interesting that Taysom Hill had to work without his entire left side of his offensive line, but those things happen. He still had a pretty decent day, and we wouldn't say he had a good day, but he and Jameis Winston had a decent day as a whole. But Marcus Davenport going up against James Hurst, a proven guy in the NFL, a really good guy when he was an offensive tackle for the Baltimore Ravens. He was that 6th offensive lineman. He proved himself to have been a really good guy that filled in for Andrus Peat when he was dealing with an injury. Ended up being that 6th offensive lineman. So they love James Hurst here on this team. They gave him a 3-year deal on top of that. So to have news that Marcus Davenport is owning James Hurst, to come away with 4 sacks and repeat it faster, like back to back on top of that. So this is really good for Marcus Davenport and his confidence. We haven't heard much of him and really showing up and showing out in training camp in a while. So if Davenport can continue this trajectory, if he can avoid the injury bug during training camp, if he can get to the regular season healthy, then the sky's the limit for what Marcus Davenport can do for this team. So this is a good day for Marcus Davenport to cap off of going into tomorrow. He can keep that same energy when Teron Armstead and Ryan Ramczyk are back out there on the field. If he can have that similar type of success against 2 of the best tackles in the entire NFL, then if he can go toe-to-toe with them, then he can beat pretty much anybody around the league, especially the set of tackles for the Green Bay Packers. You've got Taysom Hill throwing an interception. To I wouldn't say Patrick Robinson, but he did get the deflection, and then Demario Davis hit the cleanup. Haven't seen something like that since 2019 when we were on the road against the Bucs, and Jameis Winston was on that team at the time. But 8 for 11 for Taysom Hill, 11 of 16 for Jameis Winston. Overall, I'm excited for the fact that Jameis seems to be pretty smart overall, minus that one egregious call to roll out to his left and throw across his body to the opposite side of the field. That's not a call you want to make. It's probably like a bad habit. He's still trying to kick. It comes and goes every now and again. It comes with the territory of being a gunslinger. So I'm not gonna knock Jameis Winston and say that he's now behind Taysom Hill in the QB battle. All right, I'm not gonna say that. I believe it's the fact that he's had one bad play in like his 7th camp practice, and that's honestly really good. Whereas people like Patrick Mahomes has 3 interceptions during training camp, and Sam Darnold has 12 already. He has 12 interceptions during his in his training camp campaign with the Carolina Panthers. So I will take one one bad play in a seventh practice any day of the week. And it goes back to the decision making of what these two quarterbacks are. The stats aren't going to just say that, right? There are a lot of other things that need to be factored in. Who you're running with, who you're going against. Excuse me. On top of that, what kind of decisions you're making with the football? Are you being smart? So Taysom Hill is, for the most part, keeping it close. On top of the defense, is having a really good showing, especially the DBs. Shout out to Chris Richard. But if not for some of these plays like Marquez Callaway batting down the football, turning into a temporary DB, and some guys just not catching the football, Taysom Hill would have more interceptions already over Jameis Winston. He would probably have four by now. He had one almost interception yesterday. He already has one today. And he would have had two extra on top of that. Like, he hit a bad shoulder to Marquez Callaway and a deep ball to Callaway that was intercepted by C.D. Deuce, and they tussled with it, and it looked like from John DeSagier's viewpoint, it looked like it could have been a pass breakup instead. Amy just ended up saying that Callaway pulled a Robert Meacham. If you guys know what Robert Meacham means in this context, look up the game against the Washington Redskins a couple years ago. That's what she means by that. So Taysom Hill's getting really lucky with some of these passes that should have been interceptions by now. He would have been leading this QB battle with more interceptions over Jameis, in all honesty. So I would say Jameis Winston is being a little more smarter with the football, even though stats will pretty much not show it as much. So a lot of guys like Team Taysom is using these stats, saying that Taysom's having a better time because of his the completion to attempt ratio. And it's not that. It's not that, guys. Let's not kid ourselves. It's a tight race. It's still too close to call on who's pulling away, but Jameis is keeping just ahead over Taysom Hill, and that's honestly not a surprise. But shout out to Taysom. It looks like compared to where he was last year when he was throwing the ball, he's had a handful of wobblies, a handful of underthrows, but it looks like his throwing mechanics are getting a little sharper. So whenever those Taysom packages roll in to sub out for a play or two for Jameis, he can be a little more smarter with the football. But I'm worried for the fact that he may not be as physical when running the football anymore because he's slimmed down. He's worked out so differently playing solely quarterback. But Ian Book could fill in those spots as well. Ian Book is having a terrific camp when you're comparing he and Trevor Siemian. So it looks like Trevor Siemian is going to be on the practice squad, whereas Ian Book is going to win that role. And I'm very excited for that. The possibilities are endless for Ian Book. He may see some time on the field depending on what he does going forward from today. Yesterday, Nick Underhill commented that Ian Book was 22 of 30 so far. So he's pretty decisive and he's pretty good over Trevor Siemian. I'm very much looking forward to what Ian Book has to offer this team. Defensively, I'm very happy for the DBs. Patrick Robinson, Ken Crawley, they're stepping up. Paulson Adebo, he had a good day. Not too much to speak of, but he was in a couple of plays. Demario Davis doing Demario Davis things. Zach Bond was in good position to make an interception. He just has to capitalize on it. I don't care if it was a bad decision or not. That ball falls to your hands. You got to make that play. Zach Bond understands that. Overall, I'm very happy with this defense as a whole. This is what I want to see. As much as I love, these two quarterbacks going at it and potentially just throwing bombs all over the field, this defense is still top 10. And if this top 10 defense is struggling to keep up with Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston, then you have a problem defensively. Like, these two guys should not be coming in early on in pads and running buckshot over your secondary, running buckshot over your linebackers. Like, they have to step up and really challenge these guys and make sure they get the best product on the field as a quarterback. So that way, if the quarterback ends up having a good day against them, they have a great day against nearly anybody, because there's a lot of teams that aren't as good defensively as the New Orleans Saints. we're talking about the defensive line now, right? The defensive line is looking really strong, not just with Marcus Davenport today, but Peyton Turner had a couple of good looks during one-on-ones and full team drills. You've had Christian Ringo. His name's coming up. Christian Ringo, weird. Christian Ringo ended up getting a handful of good plays, whereas he blew up a screen pass to Devontae Freeman. So, and he was involved in a run stuff as well. So Christian Ringo, Jalen Dalton, those two guys on an interior are looking really strong. I'm very much looking forward to seeing what those two have to say going forward, because it looks like when David Onyemata comes back from his 6-game suspension, one of those guys is going to have to fall back into the practice squad. So for right now, Christian Ringo is looking like he's making a strong case to want to be on this team, if not at the special teams variety. Lastly, I would have to say another good player for today was Zach Bond. Zach Bond was doing some pretty good things today. He ended up getting a run stuff. He got some coaches excited. You know, he shot into the backfield pretty quickly for a tackle for loss. So Zach Bond picking up things rather quickly when it comes to nickel packages and nickel formations and where he's supposed to be. He's showing that athleticism. He's picking up rather quickly. I'm happy for him and Pete Werner. Like, if these guys, along with Quan Alexander and Demario Davis, this linebacker core could be the best linebacker core in the NFC, guys. Like, the possibilities are endless. So if Zach off of this day overall, then they're playmakers on every level. The defensive line is very underrated as well. I talked to MOD. If you guys don't know who MOD is, then he had it's Uptown. If you don't know who Uptown is, but I talked a little bit with him yesterday about the defensive line when he was featured on the WDN Chatline podcast. Go subscribe to them, by the way, if you haven't. Great stuff. He echoed my sentiments that the defensive line is actually not going to be as problematic as most of us think. Ryan Nielsen is doing a great job with these guys. You know, with Onyemata out, we probably expected, you know, these guys to struggle in training camp, but that hasn't been the case. Christian Ringo stepped up. Jalen Dalton has assuredly stepped up, and Shy Tuttle's having a pretty good time. You got Marcus Davenport making plays over the field. You got Peyton Turner making plays all over the field, and in replace of Cam Jordan. I haven't heard much of Carl Granderson yet, but I'm pretty sure he's getting involved a little bit as well. I'm hopeful that these guys can answer the call, and then they embrace that next man up mentality. Overall, for the day, I'm happy with either side, you know, and especially special teams. Special teams saw some great punts by Blake Gillikin. He hit a 5.31 second hang time on his punt today. That's crazy. Guys, that's crazy. 5.31 seconds for a punt hang time? That's absolutely nuts. He boomed that kick. As far as I'm concerned with the punter battle between he and Nolan Cooney, that's already decided. I've seen more than enough in the punter battle. Like, come on, man. No way is Nolan Cooney beating up Blake Gillikin. He gave Thomas Morstead a run for his money last year, and that's exactly why he made the active roster and got stashed away on injured reserve. They know that they know the kind of talent they had in Blake Gillikin coming out of Penn State. I'm very excited to see Blake Gillikin in the preseason. That's going to be fun. That is going to be so very fun watching the former Mullet King and Blake Gillikin hit some great punts. Like, that's going to be refreshing. As much as I loved Thomas Morstead. Love it. Love it. I love it. I love all of this. I'm very excited for the fact that the Saints defense is really challenging these quarterbacks for the most part. I really am. Because I can't stress enough that these quarterbacks need to really prove themselves and really make the smart decisions as much as possible. They're challenging them to make the right decisions and take what the defense gives them as much as possible. But let's read a couple of comments here. Then we're going to get out. If not for that weird internet issue, I would have gone a little longer. But But there's also the fact that football is just a couple hours away, and I still have to clean up. I still have to clean up my room as well. So let's read a couple of comments here, and then we're going to go ahead and get up on out. I'll probably post another interview, assuming I don't get another copyright strike, but don't hold me to that. I'll have to try to find a way around it. Internet connections, yeah, man, that was weird. That was weird. That was Saints 01. What's going on, man? Been rocking with me since day one. Is that day one guy? Love it. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, let's get into this comment. Davenport hasn't shown out in camp before like this, so this shows a lot, even if it was against Hurst. But I think tomorrow, him and T-Stead should be a good battle. I would see Davenport get at least one. I agree with that. I absolutely agree with this. I agree with this take right here. I agree with this wholeheartedly. You know, Davenport, we haven't heard this much noise from Marcus Davenport ever, not since 2018 in his rookie year. So if he can continue sharpening his metal against Teron Armstead, if he gets at least one sack or a tackle for loss, if he gets one good play against Teron Armstead, then the possibilities are endless for Davenport. I really hope he avoids the injury bug. I really do. I want him to succeed. I want him to have the best time. If he avoids the injury bug, if he can make it to the regular season, then he's already proven he's better, in my honest opinion. If he can get to the regular season uninjured in any way, then he's already proven that he's a lot better than years prior. I really do believe that. I will gladly say that. So he doesn't just suck at Jets. Not sorry. I can't put too much stock into training camp, but 12 interceptions already after the first week, that's not good. That's not good. Not good at all. And I've argued with some Panthers fans on Twitter saying that they said Jameis was going to be bad. He's still making the wrong reads. I was like, your quarterback just threw 12 interceptions to your defense. You want to talk about bad decisions? This guy threw into double coverages. He's not looking at the safety play. I mean, you have to be crazy to not to throw 12 interceptions already. That's probably leading the entire league right now in training camp. Like, that's crazy already. That's crazy. That's crazy. This is crazy to think about. It really is. So I would be careful. I would be careful if I was the Panthers fan, trying to roast anybody in training camp. I really would. Debo, I'm telling you, bro, lockdown corner once he gets the pads on. Saints 01 repping. He is repping Paulson Adebo here. Looking forward to seeing the Debo show up and show out. He's to the bar. I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing out of Paulson Adebo. He's showing that when the pressure is on, he can adjust. He's showing that intelligence, that Stanford intelligence. He's gotten on a couple of good plays. He's been in position more than a handful of times. He just really has to finish plays. That's all he has to do. He just has to finish the play. If he can learn to finish the play when he gets into that right position at the right time, then he's definitely a lockdown corner. I don't care if it's only just a pass breakup. If you get your hand in there, you knock the ball away, then I can see him making the team. He's also embraced the fact that he wants to be on special teams. He's doing pretty good as a gunner so far. He and Jalen McCleskey, that gunner pairing. So if he can find a way on special teams, then he can work his way from there to the immediate defense. I'm looking forward to that. I really am. I want to see Adebo on this field in some capacity. And so does Paulson Adebo. Jalen McCleskey as well. I haven't heard much of him today. Chris Hogan still balling out in training camp. Deontay Harris came back today, and Grant Haley. So the team overall is almost nearly whole. Outside of Keith Washington going to IR and Traquan Smith not being there, the team is doing really well in terms of staying healthy. And that's what you want. I want these guys to be as healthy as possible to avoid any type of major injuries. Traquan Smith's probably going to be out until sometime next week or maybe even the week after, but it's not a serious injury. And Keith Washington is going to be out for a couple weeks. He's probably going to be off IR by the time week one rolls around. But overall, I'm really happy so far that the first week we haven't seen a lot of guys hit the injury bug. And I hope it continues like that. But let's read a couple more here. Just a couple more, and then we're going to get up out of here, get the whole room set up, and prepare for football in under 4 hours. A Debo Lattimore duo coming week 1. Once again, repping Paulson to Debo. I'm for it. 23 and 29. I'm all for that. And Laddie. Look, Marshawn Lattimore is having a really strong camp. He really is. And I credit that to a handful of things, mainly Chris Richard. I think Chris Richard is in his ear a lot. He's doing the right things, getting Marshawn Lattimore and his DBs as a whole. Right? So Marshawn Lattimore defeating the one-on-ones. You've got Patrick Robinson making plays on receivers like Callaway. You've got even Paulson Debo. He's coming on. He's learning quickly. You got Ken Crawley making plays. These DBs are in the right positions a handful of times outside of Adonis Washington because he just got here. Or Prince Amukamara. He had a couple of good plays with the twos. These guys in the DBs, Chris Richard is doing great things with them. Like, it's showing early. It really is showing early. Hoodie Jube says, if week 1 was this weekend, who would be your starters and rotation players right now for offense and defense? That's a good question. If I had to say for defense, I would definitely say Lattimore and Prince Amukamara for the starting rotation, the corners, and then rotate in Patrick Robinson and Paulson and Debo. Get that rotation going. And then for the defensive line, the interior to be exact, I would say Tuttle and Roach be your starters, and then you rotate in Jalen Dalton and Christian Ringo. That's what I would say. Even though Ryan Glasgow is still a good player, he's very shifty, deceptively shifty for a guy of his size. You want to capitalize on the fact that Christian Ringo is making plays. Offensively, I would. That's hard to say. It really is hard to say right now. Offensively, it's still too close to call. I want to see what the offense has to offer more before I say anything in terms of my honest opinion. Hey, wait, guys! I kind of have a feeling Warner and Quan split some reps to keep them fresh. That's the plan so far. But as far as I'm concerned, with Warner and Quan, even Zach Bond. If Zach Bond can continue having a good showing, he had a really good day. He also had an interception against Ian Book just the day before. If he continues this trajectory, I see Warner, Quan, and Zach Bond getting some rotations, not only just in the nickel package, but in the base 4-3 as well. So they're doing their due diligence with Quan Alexander. They're not rushing him in. He's has already been stated by Sean Payton that he's going to acclimate him to make sure that he is ready to go at whenever he's ready. He's not even sure if he's going to be ready by week 1. So Warner and Bond, they still are battling for that will linebacker position, whereas Quan is, he's already going to be featured in the defense, right? So he's going to be ready. When he's ready, he's ready. And in the meantime, these two guys are probably going to be in the rotation. And I'm honestly fine with that. If they can show that they're really good playing the will and really help Demario Davis unleash himself, they ain't got to worry about other responsibilities. I'm all for it. I'm honestly all for it. But that's it. That's all. I know it's a short show. I apologize. I'm not taking calls right now. I'm too excited for football to come on. I need it. I need it in my veins. I want to see these guys. I want to see Micah Parsons. I want to see Jabril Cox. I want to see CeeDee Lamb. I want to see these guys. I want to see them all. I want to see them all. I love football. I want it. I want it all. Well, thank y'all for tuning in to the Black and Gold Breakdown podcast. I apologize for the technical issues. I will work on it sometime later tonight or sometime before or after the game. If you guys want to be featured on my special guest of the week, you have to be following one of my other platforms outside of YouTube on top of being subscribed to my YouTube channel. My social media handles are going to be in the description of any video outside of this one for obvious reasons. So you can hit up my Facebook at facebook.com, search Black and Gold Breakdown, or if you're on Instagram, you can hit up my following at Who Dat Davis, or if you're on Twitter, you can follow me at Real Aaron Davis. That's Real Aaron Davis. So hit up my other social media, hit up a follow, or hit up a like on the page if you're on Facebook, whatever. Do what you got to do to make sure you're following and tracking my news and my updates of when your boy goes live or goes up with some more news, content, etc. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for another review, if there is training camp tomorrow, of the New Orleans Saints and what's happening with our boys. Until next time, enjoy the preseason game tonight, guys. Get your room ready, get your food ready. It's going to be a fun time. We needed it so badly. Holla at y'all.